All right, it's 9 o'clock. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Hi, Paul.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
All right, we will call this meeting to order. First item is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda if there are no changes to the agenda.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to approve Monday, November 28th minutes.
I read the minutes and I make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 1 is to review the 2023 commercial insurance renewal. And we have Terry Beard. Are you going to be speaking this one? No. All right. You want to pull up a chair, Terry?
Sure. Won't stay very long. It doesn't.
You might be able to come. You
Is
said
that-
under 4.
Okay.
If there's some.
Hi, Terry. First
Good
of all,
morning.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes to try and go through and answer any.
This is gonna take a
Couple hours. I didn't bring the coffee. And I will say, I'm not going to go through this brochure of the renewal summary, but I will try to answer, I think, what will be the number one question of why the cost went up. So I will try to do that, and I will make mention that if any of you would like to get more in depth with this at any other time, I would be happy to schedule the time outside of this, and if any or all of you to go through this, but I'll do my best to try and explain everything. Why did it go up? I guess there are many factors when you look at the costs involved. We're going to look at 3 primary reasons that things went up, and briefly touch on those. First of all, I think in the back of here, there might have been a summary of claims. That's one thing they look at. In the past 5 years, the county has had approximately 50 claims with about 277,000 roughly. I'm rounding numbers here. Now a claim might be something that's just as minor as a notification that there's a potential claim, all the way up to a full-blown, something happened in good court or damage to a property or whatever it might be. So that's the first thing. And when you look at that, that's about 55,000 plus average per year, which is not bad for a county your size. And comparing that to others, that's about a 25% loss ratio, what they're looking at when you compare that to what your average premium has been for the year. So I would call this cost neutral in your case, because you're not on the top with claims and you're not on the bottom. You're kind of right in the middle. So, not too bad there. The second thing we look at is exposure. And so when you just say, well, it costs more, what happened? Well, as we pointed out earlier, we talked, you had a roughly $36 million for property. Now that's gone up to 40 million. Cost reasons for that is building has gone up, building costs have gone up, as you're all pretty much aware, I'm sure. The cost of labor, the cost of 2x4, all that has gone up. And so we're trying to keep pace with inflation there. So the exposure has gone up a little bit. That is a portion of that. Not only in property, one thing that some people forget about, and this is kind of a phenomenon I don't think any of us have ever seen, you can look at it, the cost of an automobile. 4 or 5 years ago, if you look at a new vehicle, say $50,000, the value of that vehicle continually went down. the phenomena occurred a couple of years ago when that shortage occurred, and all of a sudden those vehicles flattened out and all of a sudden gained value. Never has that happened in the insurance industry. They look at that plane always going down. So what they happened is, if you took a $50,000 vehicle in 5 years, it's worth 25 or 50%, 25,000. They would assume the next year it would be worth less. Well, what happened is it started going the other direction. So their model did not contemplate that. So in other words, they're going to have to start causing their rates to go up because they've got more exposure than what they had previously determined.
And that's not reflected in.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm looking at all costs. And so, we're looking at just some property here. You're looking at what is the cost of the vehicle? What is the cost of the building? Things, every line, except work comp, we have not talked about that. That doesn't renew until July 1. Hopefully that will go down the way it looks, but liability, while the number of claims, and again, I'm speaking in general, not to you specifically, but in general, the number of claims went up slightly, which is not a big deal, but the amount of claims went up drastically. In insurance terms, they refer to it as nuclear verdicts, where, a claim that might have been 100 or 200,000, now it's a million. And, it's just a phenomenon. And I'm going to, I see you've printed off some information. There's, the market is changing. There's 3 things I think I sent to you, Courtney, that if you haven't, please share with them. It's a marketing thing that talks about why these costs are going up. It talks about some of the services that ICAP has available for loss control and some of those things. And then the last one was a law enforcement bit that because we're seeing probably, if we look at the sectors of auto liability, general liability, cyber liability, the biggest increase as far as claims is concerned is in law enforcement. We've seen the verdicts go up drastically in that particular, again, not you specifically, but as a whole when you look at the broad picture. So there's some information there. ICAP does a nice job every Friday, or excuse me, the first Friday of every month, they have a webinar that people can go on, like your department heads or whatever, and they can take a look at and see, what topic they're going to discuss and see if that merits them jumping on there. There's no cost to it. It's just something that they offer. Law enforcement, I know that they do those. I think, I can't remember, it's every Friday, every other Friday or whatever, where they can go on and they can look at, potential of making a policy and how to protect themselves so that they can help mitigate some of these claims that are occurring out there.
Do they track that? Who's on now? Or-
Yeah.
And does that come back and reflect on the premium?
It can help, those are all things that it's not a cost thing. It's not put out there to, try to be something that is going to lower your cost. It's just general information that they're putting out there, but it does give me a tool to say, well, look, we're doing everything we can. We're taking this seriously, and we work with a safety group that we talk to those folks periodically, and they meet with department heads again and try and look at if there's a problem, that we can address and try and correct. There really hasn't been anything with you specifically that has been, a reoccurring problem, like somebody slipping and falling, and we don't see a reoccurring problem like that, or, I can't think of an example, but there's just nothing.
How many counties are in ICAP right now?
There's 76 that are in ICAP. There's 76 counties that are with the ICAP program. There's 10 other counties called the Heartland Pool that are in an arrangement like ICAP. There's 4 that are self-funded. I can't think of the math here, but we had 76 and 10 and 4. And then there's a couple that are with the only other real market out there is Employers Mutual, or EMC as we refer to them. And they have, I think it's 8 maybe or 9. And then there's 81 of the counties that belong with IMWCA for the work comp. So there's just that's another problem. There's not many markets. I mean, it's not like going out and shopping your auto insurance where I can go out and find, you can find 30 carriers. And there's really 2. I mean, there's others that are out there that will say they write it, but I would be very skeptical. They don't have a whole lot of experience working in a municipality field. So that's another problem.
I know for some companies, you gotta shop around for just workers' comp.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's what we call a hard market, and we haven't really seen those since the 80s. And if
Do you think some of your I'm gonna play devil's advocate right now. Some of this nuclear explosion. Don't you think it's a little fault of the insurance companies themselves? Because they don't take on and stand ground on some of these cases and just settle. I mean, we've had a couple of them, I think. I mean,
I don't disagree with you. I think that we've been part of the problem. I don't think there's one, bullet out there that is the cause of all problem. I never think.
Yeah, but I think there's sometimes,
I don't
I think there's sometimes we need to take a stand and prove some people wrong.
And that there's part of the policy that talks about that ICAP has is the right to settle. I mean, some of them will say, no, we're going to settle, and that's it. You don't have a choice. You have that choice here. I mean, you do and you don't. A lot of them say, well,
You do, you don't, but
but if it's going to cost more than what we, if we could have settled for 100,000 and you want to fight it, and it costs 200,000, you're on the hook.
You're on the hook for the rest.
100. So
You're
do you
forced.
really have it? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I don't disagree with you, Gene. So those are two of the things. Right now, what's driving the cost of insurance, and this is going to be for your own homeowner's insurance, for your own auto insurance, it's the cost of what we call reinsurance. Reinsurance is a tool that every provider out there buys insurance themselves. Example, we've got $40 million of property here. ICAP will only retain a portion of that loss. They won't keep the whole $40 million exposure. So they might keep it. I should know this, but I apologize. I don't. It's somewhere between 5 and 10 million. They will keep themselves. So if everything were destroyed and you lost 40 million, ICAP is on the hook for, let's say, 5 million. The reinsurer is going to be on the hook for 35 million. And that's a couple different things in the sense that they do that per client. So when they look at Carroll County, that's the most exposure that they have. It's at $5 million. They'll also look at it, the exposure as an event. So like when we had a derecho, they may have a $60-70 million set limit that's the most loss that they can occur in any one tragic event. The derecho is a perfect example. And that reinsurer then comes in and picks up what's on top of that. And that's the same for liability as well. They'll only keep a portion of the loss. There's very few reinsurers, and these reinsurers act worldwide. So they're not only covering carriers here in the Midwest, they're insuring the same carriers that are in Florida that are, dealing with Hurricane Ian or whatever, or they're the same ones that are insuring a plane that's flying across the ocean. There's not a lot of them, and they have taken a distinct hit in the last couple of years. And so it's strange to think, why do we get pulled up with those kind of companies? But that's why. There's very few of them, and all the companies here that are doing business in the Midwest, there's only so many players in that game, and they are just getting beat up. So all things the same. If the amount of coverage would have been the same, your claims would have been zero, it still would have gone. It had nothing to do with anything that you did or did not do. It's just, that's what the companies have to have, and they have to keep that reinsurance to keep themselves solvent. If they would accept all the exposure, a derecho would have wiped out a lot of those Midwestern companies who may have, 100 million or a couple 100 million of reserves. Well, some of those companies, that was the largest single loss by probably 20 times. So it was a devastating impact for us here. So I don't know if that's answered all your question. I mean, and I don't like bringing the news. I mean, I'm the bearer of bad news here. I get that, but it's really nothing you did. It's nothing I did. It's nothing your company did. That's what's happened. And reinsure is the big thing that's driving that. And you'll see that along with the other things that I mentioned. When you look at renewals on any of your property, whether you own a home or a building or something like that, it's probably going to be going up. And everyone has varying impacts. So that's the reason behind all that. Not something that's great. I don't have a crystal ball. I'd like to be able to say I hope I can come back to you next year and at this time and you'll have a decrease or hopefully no more increase. But only time will tell what happens in the marketplace. And like I said, a lot of it is beyond our control. And like I said, with the limited number of markets, we could go to market, but I've got one other choice and they're not really very competitive right now either.
So do you get to choose the reinsurer?
Oh, no, that's something that's set between the ICAP deals with the reinsurance, and many of them will buy reinsurance from more than one reinsurer. They won't put all the eggs in one basket. So, no, and I don't care what company you go with, if it's EMC, would be the other property carrier, but you have Travelers and you have Nationwide, you have all them, they all do the same thing. They operate under that same, I guess, market strategy or model. So that is
So you're telling us all when we get our next homeowners bill, it's gonna go up.
well, and yeah, it probably will. And I would, we've marketed that from our office. I mean, we would strongly encourage all people, if you haven't looked at your homeowner's value or a building value in the last 2 or 3 years, you really need to take a look at it, because a $300,000 house built 3 years ago, I'll guarantee you're not going to get close to it for $300,000 now. I mean, it's probably going to be $450,000 to $500,000. I mean, that's the reality of it. It's not, that's just what it is. I mean, between building materials and labor and everything that's associated with it.
And I understand what you're saying. You look at what all the catastrophes we had around in the world lately.
Yeah.
It's got to hit someplace.
Yeah. We're in Florida, they're losing carriers. There's, they put up, and every time there's an insurance company that goes out of business, it just, it's one less competitor out there. That's not a good thing. We're seeing that here. There's just not much competition as far as people in the marketplace. I will say that back in the early 80s, when these pools, IMWCA and ICAP were formed, you may remember it, municipal business was really down toilet. I mean, there was companies that were going broke. There was companies that were coming out with a 50% renewal increase was a good thing. They were 100% or they would cancel them. And that's why these pools were formed back in the early and mid 80s. And so that's one good thing. And you always have the ability. This pool board of directors is made up of people like yourself. There's county supervisors, there's auditors, there's those kind of people that you can talk to. And they've always been very reactive to looking for solutions, problems. This one, I don't think there's a magic pill out there to solve the problem. It is what it is. And as far as the reinsurance, that's beyond everybody's control. And it's
back in the 80s, this was about the only option a lot of people had.
Yeah. And until the last couple of years, I mean, last year we went up significantly, but it was designed, like I said, you are a member, so it's not like you're contributing to a company that's trying to make a profit. This is for your benefit, and anything that they can do full cost is giving them back to you folks. And their whole mission, again, was to try and make a stable market. And for the most part, they've done that. These last 2 years, argue that it hasn't been very stable, but it's still a market and it's viable. I mean, 20% increase, roughly, whatever we're looking at here, it is bad enough. 17.3, yeah. So it's bad enough, but at least it's a market. And like I said,
the other 75 counties getting the exact same increase.
Very close.
You said that having 0 claims didn't help or hurt us.
It depends on your property.
Could 0 would give you a little bit. It's just like raising the deductible to 10,000. It would be a little bit.
But I mean, this is statewide. All 76 counties
Are going to get
the
hit
same.
Roughly.
We're all sharing it equally.
Roughly. Like I said, if you had a lot of claims, they could ding you a little bit more, which we did. Which, like I said, I think yours was a cost neutral. With your claims, it's about average.
The biggest problem is our deer.
Deer?
With ambulances.
But like I said, I know it's not good news, and I don't want to take up all of your time this morning here, but if any of you would like to, go through this and more in depth, I would be more than happy to schedule a time with you and sit down and try and explain it. I don't know that I have all the answers, but if I don't, I can certainly find the answer for you if I don't have it. So, like I said, I'm sorry, it's what it is. It's been
So if these programs that these webinars would help us on our insurance, we should encourage our department heads.
I would encourage you, whether or not it helps your cost or not. I mean, some things are cost neutral. I mean, it's all about safety. These people, especially on the work comp side, we don't, the money is one thing. What our goal is that everybody goes home safe at the end of the day. And whether it costs you or saves you money, that's not really their number one thing. They want it safe. And if we can avoid, you're all aware of insurance. The best thing, use of insurance is not using it. You don't win when you get a new door put on that the wind blew off, or a new roof and the hail blew off. You don't come out ahead. It's not meant to be that way. So, a lot of times it's hard to believe that. And it's if you don't use it, it's best. If we can make something happen for safety's sake, that you don't have a slip or a fall, or you don't have a fire because you got a security system or an answer system or whatever it is, it's better to have that precautionary thing in place rather than waiting for the accident to happen. And, mitigate it if it does happen. What can they do? Can they get to, physical therapy, or can they do this or that, or what procedure should they follow? Is there a good method? And then we do have that when somebody gets hurt, they report to a supervisor, that it gets reported, and they get to a doctor or whatever as soon as they can, and they're followed up, and they make sure that they go to their appointments until they're ended.
Anybody have any more questions?
I guess I'm not really surprised at the increase, because we're going through our homeowners right now. And had to sit down and we saw what the premium was. And he said the same thing.
Yeah.
We had no claims in years, and the premium went up. And I think a lot of it too is replacement cost.
Exactly.
Well, now you're scaring me.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was almost to the point of, should we start doing some shopping around, but I don't know if that's going to help really.
That's why I'm wondering what the other 75 counties are thinking when they get this same news we're getting.
Well, and I work with a lot of counties. I mean, I'm part of a group, County Risk Management, as you guys probably know. I have 29 counties pretty much west of 35. And, these meetings are taking place. All these agents are, strapping it up and saying, oh, boy, here we go. And I'm like, what? It's happening in every boardroom across.
So even like the EMC counties are in the same news.
Your 29 counties probably were not as hard a hit as the eastern part.
Right, the ratio
really threw a curveball.
And I mean, I look at was it Mason City that got hit with that tornado? That loss alone is
Marshalltown. Their courthouse.
Not Mason City. Marshall.
Tremendous.
That was 35-40 million for the courthouse alone.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, it doesn't.
That's a large portion of your pool.
Yeah, well, they weren't with us. They were with the competitor, which is
That's
yeah.
I mean, because if you're sitting on $150 million pool,
Yeah,
that's 35-40 million.
Yeah,
That's
but
a big
they
jump.
have reinsurance again, so. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
that-
still.
It's not good. I mean, and that's one of the things everybody says, and Dean, your point, well, you never had a claim. That's the way insurance works. If you have 100 homeowners, only one is probably going to lose, or probably 1,000 homeowners, only one is going to lose their house here. Most of them are not going to have a claim. But when you look at your premium, even though it's higher than you'd like it to be, if you've got to go replace that $300,000 house, it takes a lot of those premiums to go back and do that. So it's looked at. Not everybody is going to get a claim. If everybody got their money back, for what their premium was, the rates would be astronomical. Would be because a company will look at, typically a company only gets profitable when it's 50 to 55% loss rate. So in other words, if they take in $100, if they're paying out 50, they're at break even. Okay, because they've got to pay me a commission, they've got underwriters, they've got adjusters, they've got all these other people that they've got out there, so. You know, it isn't, you know, well, I pay you $1, I should be able to get $1 back. No, it doesn't work that way. They've got other costs down behind that you don't see. That they've got to, you know, take a look at and try to justify. So. Again, hopefully we will have better news next year. And like I said, I'm sorry for the increase, but it is. I think I've tried to explain it the best I can. And like I said, if we need additional time, I'd be more than happy to visit with you individually, but.
So I appreciate you coming in this morning.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time to explain.
We have 4 minutes before we're gonna go into a public
Do
hearing.
we want to approve this renewal now at this time or just, or just review? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Do you guys wanna, can we approve the flats? We had 2. One for that.
340th level
340th
speed
Street.
to a level A road.
Then. We have one for Earl.
Then there's one for
Lens.
Lynn's. You got that one, Courtney?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve those 2 flats. Unless there's some discussion.
I'll second.
That's
I found this one kind of odd, but. The layout of it was a little odd.
That's the frontage on 300.
I just.
Yeah.
But it's
So
fine.
they just stayed above the tariff.
Okay, so there's been a motion and a second to approve the flats. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I did that.
Still got 3 minutes. But. Unless somebody has a really short committee board.
I
Committee
do.
meetings.
I don't have anything,
What do you got next week?
nothing.
A house update.
Mine's gonna be a little longer, probably. Okay.
I could probably do 9. Last week, I did not have any official meetings, but I did have quite a few conversations with some department heads. This week, I have. I'm gonna meet with Rick Hunziker, Region 12, to discuss some executive policy items on Wednesday morning. And then Wednesday night, I will be attending the Glidden Roundtable. And Thursday, I am going to stop in at the Region 12 meeting, but it will only be for a half hour as I have,
Policy council meeting.
the policy council meeting, but I have Christmas concerts at night, so I will be missing.
I can go that just real quick.
And I do have the newspaper and radio, I think, right, Scott?
Yes, you do. Last week I had RSVP and foster grandparents on Tuesday. Gene and I attended the planning and zoning workshop with Region 12. Also on Tuesday. Friday, Gene and I met with a couple ambulance employees at the courthouse. And this week, Wednesday night is county roundtable in Glidden with a tour of the new daycare open house there. And Thursday night is policy council for Region 12. And Friday morning is second judicial district of Iowa. Questions?
Well, then I'll go quick.
Oh, actually, I'll stop it because it's 9:30. All right, we are going to, so sorry.
Here.
It is 9:30, so we are going to have a public hearing for the funding status of the CDBG down payment assistance program. That's a tongue twister a little bit. CDB.
It is. Thank you for sending us that. Did you receive any written? I did not. I
Yep, I got the update, but I
Okay.
didn't give them a copy of the update.
All right, I'll make sure I point that
Okay.
sends out. You kind of all saw the minutes that we will be using, and as you know, we were gracious enough to apply for a second round of the down payment program in 2021. And that program was awarded $211,500 worth of funds. And it was to provide down payment and lead hazard reduction to 5 homeowners at or below 80% of the county AMI. It's a 5-year forgivable loan. The money is matched whatever the home buyer brings to the table, up to 20% of the purchase price of the home, with the goal being to either eliminate or drastically reduce their PMI insurance. It can also cover $3,500 in closing costs. This is only A through C, no escrow, taxes, or insurance, just those items like appraisals and abstract updating and so forth. $300 for a home inspection fee, and if the home is been built before 1978 and has any lead-based hazards, we could do remediation on those. Qualified applicants must live within Carroll County. This is one of the very, very, very few CDBG programs that actually assist people that live in the country or any little town. And so that's been kind of nice too. As with the 2019 program, we had an overwhelming response, and we submitted and had approved an amendment to increase the participants from 5 to 10. Current status, 7 of those applicants have closed on their home. The 8th is scheduled to close on December 15th, and the 9th client has been income eligible approved and is currently looking for a home. We have properties that were purchased in the towns of Halbert, Arcadia, Carroll, and Manning. So it's reaching out further than the last program did to the neighboring towns, which I think is great. And at this point, all projects will be completed ahead of the deadline of 10/31/2023. Expenditures are $83,280 in down payment and closing costs of fees, $17,295 in technical service, and $5,186 in administrative, for a total of $105,761. Data on those home buyers. I was asked last time. 8 of the 9 applicants are first-time home buyers. We had one applicant that had purchased a home. She was elderly, lived in Minnesota, and wanted to come back to family, so she used the program to purchase a home in Manning. Of the 9, only 2 resided outside of Carroll County and purchased into Carroll County. And an interesting thing this year was that 3 of those 9 applicants purchased a home that they had been renting long-term.
Awesome.
So I thought that was kind of a unique twist and something that kind of was in their favor, because now they've moved into home ownership. So that's kind of the rundown of the logistics of the 9. 1, 2, 3, 4 are in the town of Carroll. 2 in Halbert, 1 in Arcadia, and 1 in Manning. Now, plans for the future, we have been contacted by the state and asked if we would like to consider and another amendment to add another $50,000 to this fund. I am assuming that there would be no objections from the supervisors or.
Well, I just do it.
So no, I mean, I don't have an objection to that, but have they discussed the future of these funds? If
As
it's
you know,
going so well, you would
as you
think.
know, Director Durham came out earlier this year and stated that owner occupied rehabilitation was not serving Iowa or rural Iowa, and took it off the table along with this program. There has been some discussion at the Iowa Homeowners Coalition about bringing these programs back. And I think that Carroll County has served as an exemplary example of why this program is needed. And as interest rates continue to skyrocket and the price of things go, it's needed even worse. So I was planning on asking for that additional $50,000 just to continue helping homeowners and using it kind of as a catalyst to say these programs are used.
So that would have the amendment to this current program then?
Correct.
I have no problem with that whatsoever.
I think that's a very good thing. Very good thing.
And it will probably, we're ranging anywhere from $10,000 to $18,000 on assistance, depending on the cost of the home they're gonna purchase and which bank and the closing costs. So
So we're looking at about 3 to 5 homes.
I would think with 50, we could easily get 3 homes in there, depending if they're to the lower, or more. I'll probably ask for 3 projects and $50,000. If we conserve money, it's very easy to, because we're gonna spend the last dollar.
Do we need a motion in that effect to amend?
No, I would
Still
say
in
that
public
we'll have
hearing.
some paperwork in the board.
Yeah,
meeting
we're
to
still-
amend it.
Yes, yes. And so in the next couple of weeks, I will get that paperwork ready and it will get on your agenda to be approved and to sign the amendment request with IEDA.
Did you receive any comments, anything for this public hearing? Dalton, is there anything online?
I don't see anything.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions about the program in general?
I like the detail.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Great memory to remember those details. I remember asking you that last time.
Oh, that I was saying, well, I was reading. Yes, so
Well, I think it's a very good program. It's, like you said, it reaches out all to the county.
it has, and so since 2019, we're looking at 19 homes served as of today. I think that's fairly significant when you look at the, the
Of the 19 homes, have any of them sold or moved on and had to repay back?
one did.
That's what I thought.
One did, but when you find that person and you want to move on to that phase of your
Oh,
life, that
absolutely.
can throw a key in there. We still have that money in reserve. If that money has not been spent, let me rephrase that, if that money has not been added to, so that you went over a total of $32,000 in any fiscal year, the county will have the opportunity to retain those funds and use that to further something that would assist 80% income home buyers. So you would be able to, if you wanted to, just turn that over and add it to this program if you wanted to. I think it was about $14,000 or so. It'd be
Now,
wonderful.
there's some communities do have the same program, or did have a program like that.
There are a couple of communities that have the IFA home program.
Is that
which is-
similar to this then?
Similar but different. Less different than they used to be now that they're all housed under the same roof. But their program has a lot more boxes to check and isn't near as user friendly. And I like this program because they have to match those funds, which shows that they've done the fiscal responsibility to be able to do this. The IFA home will provide all the down payment assistance and you don't have savings.
Well, my point being, those communities that probably have done it are ones that are reaching out, trying to get something done. And we have communities that probably ain't as aggressive, at least we're covering that end of it. with this
Correct.
program.
Correct. Manning has used that IFA home program. I would say probably half their town has been touched by that IFA home program. And then Denison has just started one this year and it seems to be going fairly well.
Sure.
And then this is what I will. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well,
for
thank
good
you.
news.
Go ahead and close the public hearing.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Steph, can I pass this down and you sign it? I have it, return that to her. Perfect.
What do you just go with her?
That's fine.
Does this go with her?
No, I need to email it to her.
Gotcha.
Okay, do you wanna, let's go ahead and finish up your committee reports for not jumping around too much. We're going to have.
Okay. Last Tuesday, I had the Region 12 planning and zoning as Scott alluded to. And then Friday, we met with 2 of the ambulance. They basically giving us some options. Really, it was not so much about wages. They were coming with options, so things that they thought might help for future retention more than anything, wouldn't you say, Scott? So it was kind of an interesting meeting. We made no commitments, we just listened. And it was very good. Also this week, I've been working on performance reviews for the CEO of New Opportunities, and I did the paper and radios last week. This week, tomorrow is CADC at noon. And then at 6:30, I have policy council for Head Start out at New Opportunities, and then Wednesday's the Carroll County Roundtable in Glidden, and then Thursday is New Opportunities as a board meeting. So that's my week, and I'll stick with it. I did that Tuesday.
Dean, would you like to do?
I
yours
can, I
now,
can
or-
do mine, yeah.
Okay.
I just had Region 5 Hazmat. And it was their budget meeting, and they were sitting on what I would consider a large reserve, and that was a concern to several supervisors. And most of the reserve came from the sale of their old hazmat truck. And I think it's been sold for over a year now, but I don't think they knew what they were gonna actually do with those dollars, which was a little bit concerning to me, but what they I think some of the supervisor had different options that we could use. We could lower the contribution, or we could I guess the first option was to see if they can make a payment on the new truck. And they didn't know at PNC Bank was pushing back on that they didn't want to. I think it said in the paperwork that there could be no advance payment. So I think they're trying to work with PNC Bank to get that payment made. If that doesn't work, then then they need to give those dollars back to the counties, and either lowering the contribution, which is probably kind of an involved process, or the other one is to suspend contributions for the counties
For a period of time.
Until it gets caught back up.
Rather than lower it and then raise it back later,
Yeah, that's not good.
go back and forth.
No, so, but the new budget looks good. It calls for no increases. And that's what it's about, so.
So when they signed that loan paper with the bank, was anybody aware that it said no payment,
I don't know.
prepayment can be made?
I don't think they even thought that would be considered to be an option.
A problem. one way or
Yeah,
another.
yeah. I don't think they ever thought they have. They didn't have the truck sold, the old truck sold at that time, so.
You must have got a pretty penny out of that thing.
Well, they got 70,000.
Typically, those old things, if you can find somebody taking for $1,000 to $2,000,
Yeah, well,
that's a gift.
it went right down the road to right east or west of them.
But you typically, you don't, you sit
No.
on it forever.
No, and I think they were concerned about how much you're actually going to get from it.
Exactly.
you know, And although it was in good shape,
What was the final amount again
pardon me,
that they got for it?
70,000. So, yeah, that was that meeting. And then this week I have no official meetings.
Courtney, do you have any? And you want to?
I do have a few things for next week, community concern, historical society and bereavement daycare right now for funding requests. And it'll be a bill day.
And we have about 15 minutes before we have 2 more funding requests. Item number 4 is committee and board assignments. First off, I want to thank and congratulate Rich Ruggles on your retirement after tonight. Thank you for your years of service. You will be realized. Thank you for mentoring me through some challenging and difficult times as well. That, anybody else?
Then
With that, Rich has some committee appointments that we need to kind of take a look at. And fill these until the special election in February 7th. Is that correct?
I think you fill them through the end of the year, and then when you guys meet for the first time in January and you do these, you would do them again.
Do them again.
And
Okay.
then unfortunately, after that special election, you'll have
Do it
a
again.
board member and you may need to.
so you do them as a temporary in January.
Well, I think January would be like you normally do, and then we'd have to just amend those and,
Reassign.
reassign them, yeah.
So I was looking through these, and I have with the boards. Sorry, with everybody, I have decided to take on Region 12 Council of Governments Executive Council. And I will continue to do the General Assistance Audit Team. The alternates.
Well, wait, you're already on general assistance audit team.
Correct.
So are you gonna get somebody else? I mean, I would be interested.
I'm going to ask probably one of you two to do Rolling Hills Community Service Region.
Well, that audit team, I think that needs to be somebody other than me. So I'll take that, because I'm the board president.
And Dean, I'm not excluding you. It's just,
Well, you should.
I just. So we'll put Scott on General Assistance Audit Team, and then will you sit in on the one Rolling Hills meeting?
Sure.
Is that okay? You fine with
Yeah,
that?
that's probably a decent fit for right now, because Gene understands the lingo.
Okay, so I have,
That helps a lot.
I printed that off. They have a meeting, a Zoom meeting Thursday.
I think it's Thursday.
Wednesday, but I printed that off.
I don't know, I missed my
No,
email.
it's Wednesday. Via Zoom. The alternates. If for some reason the person that sits on those boards cannot make their meeting, please let me know.
I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
Because most of them I think are yours, so. Alternates, I will
The
handle.
judicial is mine and I'll be there this Friday, so we're safe on that one.
You say this one is Wednesday by Zoom?
Yeah, Don will send you the skinny on it.
December 7th at 2:30.
Okay, I think that'll work. I just gotta make sure.
And then the last one we have is partnerships for families. I have been receiving the emails. I don't know what all involves with that.
You're a member and kind of oversee it. There's no financial responsibility to it. Just your input and watch what's going on. The counties take their turns. Carroll County's in for 2 years or 3-year appointment. And then,
I'll take it, so.
and then another county
You
will
will,
move on.
so I saw the binders up
Yeah.
there.
Okay, that's Cindy Dirt, huh?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I have been receiving her emails. I will make sure I will respond to her.
Most of the meetings are out here at New Ulm.
Okay.
So they're easy to get to.
No, I'll take that one. Is that Region 12 funded also?
No,
No, okay.
no, that's funded outside of- and their budget is not large.
Thank you, I'll take that one.
Okay, I appreciate everybody's help.
More
What about
li-
CADC? You're on that one too, aren't you?
Yes,
I think there's one on there. I think that we can leave blank for now if we have to.
I think I recommend just going blank until.
Till
the
January
new
1st.
electee, and then you could,
I would like to be on.
and then reevaluate that.
Okay.
But no, I would just. There's nothing really earth shattering gonna happen between here and March 1st anyway.
So the final, Courtney, are those all good? Yeah, so the final thing we have to do, we have to appoint a temporary vice chair to fill the position for to January 1st.
Yeah, try it. It's only for 3 weeks, so.
I'll make the motion that Scott Johnson should be the temporary vice chair until January 1st.
I'd second that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Courtney, was the daycare coming?
Yeah. and
I think
actually-
they're right out
I
there.
think they
Okay,
are
perfect.
out there, so.
I'm gonna go out and get them, or
I go, I guess, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's them or not.
I think it is.
is it Keely?
I don't know. I mean, I know the name, but not good at.
Good morning. Good, how are you, Keely? Hi Jackie.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Who's gonna be doing the speaking today? Okay.
me.
Keely, you can just have that seat, the seat right up there, if you would.
The hot seat.
The hot seat.
The hot seat.
Hot seat. I know we had it set for 10. Is it okay if we get started, Courtney? Okay.
Not at all.
All right, well, good morning, Keely. We will hand it over to you. You guys are here for your fiscal 2024 funding request.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning and thanks so much for having me. My name is Keely Farah and I'm the Executive Director at the Carroll Area Child Care Center and Preschool. Over here I have with me, if you just want to quickly introduce yourself.
Good morning, Trisha Christensen. I serve as the secretary on the board for the center.
I'm the on-site director of the daycare. Jackie Burtis, I'm the board president.
Thank you, guys. So I know I included a little history about our child care center in our letter, but just to give you kind of an update about how things have been going, just a regular update, I guess. We're here Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., still running at full capacity, providing care for children as young as 2 weeks of age, all the way up to age 10. And so altogether, we have 150 children, which does equal approximately 100 families that we are providing care for. We do have a long waiting list containing probably 100, 120 children. And they're calling frequently trying to enroll in care, but we do fill pretty naturally by means of our waiting list for infant care. So all the way through the end of 2023, we do have, we're expecting 3 infants to arrive each month. So we're still busy and we're still doing everything we can to keep moving forward and improve and sustain our quality childcare center. So as you know, we're a nonprofit. We are set up very organized within our building. So we have 8 classrooms, all divided by age group. Something special and specific that we offer, and a reason that I'm here today, is to request funding for an infant toddler playground project, which is actually indoors. So our center, which is very unique to many centers in the Carroll area, is that we have a large motor skills play area. So it's about 20 by 25 feet of carpeted, soft space for these children to utilize to get out their physical activity and practice their gross motor. So this is specifically for infants through age 3, which includes 60 of our children who use this play space like 3 times daily, especially when it's too cold or too hot to go outside. So we want to be able to continue to offer this environment and enhance it, keep it safe, and fully utilize the space so that these children can grow in their physical activity, gross motor skills. To give you an example of what this area looks like, it's a very large room. So I would say it's probably like 50 feet across, but it is separated by age group with a half wall. And it's large carpet, soft carpeted walls even, so that the children can run, play, climb, be safe in this area and run, like I said, and jump and crawl and just explore. So our infant and toddler side is the side that we are specifically wanting to upkeep, maintain, and just get replaced and enhance the environment. We currently have a climber that does offer a space for about 12 individuals to play on. Well, the capacity of the classroom is actually 21 in this space. So we are interested in purchasing a structure is how I would describe it, which is, if you can kind of put it into like in your mind, it'd be like a large version of like a little Tykes play area that maybe like someone would have in their household, but this is huge. Okay, so probably approximately, I would say anywhere from like 12 to 15 feet around, and it engages and allows exploration for, like I said, 20 children at a time, and at all different physical development levels, so that they can pull themselves up, so that they can walk behind us, so that they can explore maybe a puzzle wall or a number wall. Lots of good visuals with animals, noisemakers, things to get them all engaged. In addition to purchasing the structure alone, the area, so the carpeting, the large motor skills area has not been re-carpeted within the past, 15, 20 years. And when I'm talking about this space, so just imagine the high traffic of these kids. So constant running, wear and tear, and it's utilized nearly all day as an alternative to their regular classroom environment. So there is just general wear and tear, and actually the half wall, there is like some carpet that's been reapplied and just needs general, fix and carpet replacement, because we all know in childcare centers, it's a main priority to keep them safe, healthy. So we are wanting to also replace that carpet as part of the project as well. Does anyone have questions on the specific space that I'm talking about? I know it can be hard to understand. I know what I'm trying to describe, but no. Okay, well, we find that this project is very necessary to keep these children safe and engaged. Like I said, we are so lucky to have this space, because if we didn't, on cold weather days, these children are confined to their classroom, which doesn't give them the opportunity to use any feet besides walking feet. I mean, they will have to, they're staying in, they're kind of confined to their classroom all day. And it's so important for physical, emotional growth for them to get out, explore, and be able to run freely, and even utilize the space for like a large group activity that might not be doable in their classroom setting. Overall, altogether, this project would benefit 60 children, today, but throughout the course of the next 5-10 years, it's going to benefit our entire enrollment and so many families for the years to come. And I will say, just to let you know, every time we give a tour and we're introducing a new family to our center, there's always a wow factor when they do enter this large motor skill space, just knowing that their child will have the opportunity to let out their energy in another space alternative to the outdoor playground. Does anyone have any questions for me? I think I've said it all, but I'm prepared to answer any questions that you might have.
What is this total project cost going to be?
I do not expect it to exceed $20,000.
So you're asking 9 from us, and where you can get the other 11,000?
So we are actually requesting 20,000.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a $9,000 increase.
They,
In
in
the
years
past,
priors, have asked for 11. This year, they're asking from us total. For 20.
a total of 20, yes.
So that's 9, but where's the rest of the 11,000 from for the project?
Their total ask is
Their
20.
total ask.
Yes, so we are asking.
He's saying last year you
We
used
give 11.
11,000. Were you getting that money to use what you used it for last year?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I'm not understanding the question.
Hey, we've been giving you 11,000
Yeah.
for your operations,
Mhm.
and you're asking an extra $9,000, going up to 20,000 this year. The project is costing roughly 20,000.
Yes.
So where's the other 11,000 coming from? I mean, I'm sure you're gonna keep the 11 we give you in the past for operations yet.
What he's saying is that in the past, there was no specific ask for anything specific. It was for operations.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what he's asking for. Where is that 11,000 coming from?
There, I can jump in on
Yeah,
this one,
okay.
if you don't mind. There's been a lot of changes with, our financial situation in this last year. So, I know in the past you guys have mentioned our loan that we have against the building. We were lucky enough to receive a stabilization grant this year, and we were able to take care of our debt on that. So that is gonna take care, I mean, some of that 11,000 may have been used for things like that, so we no longer have that debt to take care of. And so we're just kind of in a new phase right now, trying to, sort things out, and also with, we're wanting to do some staffing increases, and so we're kind of trying to balance all that stuff, but I would say, in answer to your question, we've been able to resolve some of those issues this last year. And
Well, I didn't know if there was any other sources you're gonna tap for this also. That's what I was asking, kind of too.
No, because we're also involved in we need to replace our infant toddler outdoor playground as well. So right now, we're certainly focusing on the infant toddler environments, but this one is strictly indoor, and then we're grant writing and seeking other, fundraising for our outdoor playground.
Do you guys seek funding in the city?
Yes, yeah. So in the past, we've been a recipient of 17,000 from the city.
So what would happen if this board decided to give you $11,000 again? Would that mix the
With the playground, with the piece of play equipment costing in the $10,000 range, that's definitely the priority right now, is to replace that current structure. So that is what the funds would be used for in the events that you funded us $11,000. And the replacement and the reinstall of carpet would just have to take a back seat for now.
looking at your summary of activities page there. The interest line for the last 2 years has been like 15 and 17,000. Do you anticipate that going away then? Was that for the long-term debt? Okay, that's
Yep.
my question.
Yeah, we currently have no debt.
It's a good, better position to be in.
It is.
Yeah.
A big increase, yes.
That was a large hurdle, as I remember, when I sat on that board, a large hurdle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that that's been brought up in the past. That's why we're so eager to move forward and be able to use
Put
what
that
we
behind
have to increase the staff pay. But then, work on projects like this that truly should come first, for the kids, to make sure that that environment is still engaging for them.
How is your staffing situation?
We are doing okay. So we're fully staffed and we have 40 members of our team. As of, today, we probably have 26. So, so sadly, we do not have all of the help that we need, but we continue to grow our team. I feel so grateful for the team that we have right now. It's certainly our core staff that are invested in our center, and we just look forward to hopefully growing our team and keeping them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Retainment was always
yeah,
the
that's certainly our priority.
second biggest hurdle.
Yeah, and it's still, as Keely said, it's still, an issue, and I think to your point also, with where some of this other funding is coming from, another priority of ours is to increase our staff wages, down the road. So receiving funding from you, for projects such as this can help us to be able to use other money that we have to increase staff wages, so we can retain those current employees and also hopefully recruit some additional employees.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keely. Obviously, there'll be no decision until we're through our budget. We're just starting that, so.
Okay, I appreciate all of you.
Thank you very
so
much.
Thank you.
So do you notify them or do they have to get every year? And then July 1 of the checks out and I think it touched to them.
No, they have to request it, and they usually request it in halves. So they'll request like the first half, like in July, and then like the second half, usually in December or January.
But do you notify them of how much we?
I try to,
Okay. On everybody.
I try to.
I just didn't know.
A lot of times they'll get with me and ask
Didn't mean to have that question.
if I
Pardon me?
forget.
My question would be convoluted.
Yeah, I had trouble with it at first. It's like,
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you give them 11,000 for operation.
Should we go to recess? We have
Might need to, I know that family crisis should be coming from.
at 10:30.
So. Okay, reasonable recess.
Do we need a motion to go into recess?
Yeah, you
Can I get a
should.
motion?
So,
So, second,
second,
All right, we got a motion and a second between these two. I don't care how you do it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'll mute the stuff, Steph. I got it.
Zoom link here is available, but then. You can't view them. Therefore, you won't be able to view all in attendance. Sound like it's not a totally Zoom.
Some call in.
I'm sure she did. Did you pause it? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Some people just call in.
But they're having it in Sac City this time, right?
Oh, they're having it in SAC.
And in person. At the Sac.
I was going to, if I was the one taking it, I was going to just Zoom.
Oh, they're going. That's it, just pulled up that area.
Emily just speaks under the phone.
That she,
The other day, she's like, Mom, I need to search up on the internet, and she doesn't know how to spell all the words yet. So she starts speaking on the phone. I'm like, no, you're gonna type that in. All right, I think we are back live. We don't need a motion to go back in.
Did he turn us up?
Yeah, he did. All right, item number 6 is the Family Crisis Center.
It says in research,
He's working right now.
oh, he's working on.
From muted.
It looks like the microphone.
Dalton, you there?
Okay,
I actually think we're good. Item number 6 is Family Crisis Center fiscal year 24 funding request. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Marissa with Family Crisis Centers. I'm the bilingual advocate covering Fast Health in Carroll County. So I just handed out statistics sheet. However, these numbers are more than just statistics. These numbers represent families and residents of Carroll County. These are numbers of people that have been impacted negatively by domestic violence and other violent crimes in the last year. There have been 29 Carroll County residents in the last year that have seeked Family Crisis Center services for domestic violence. That is 203 cases each month. Additionally, there have been 7 more that have reached out via clinical settings in Carroll County. In our homicide and other violent crimes unit, we've helped 17 violent crimes in Carroll County. And for our housing department, we've helped 51 people in the last year that have been seeking housing services. And that is 1 new housing request about a week on average. And those individuals can be either fleeing from domestic violence, on the verge of becoming homeless, or literally homeless. We have helped them secure housing in the past year here in this community. And lastly, we've had 64 calls, crisis calls here in Carroll County, as Family Crisis Centers holds a statewide call center to ensure that no victim or survivor has to go without speaking to someone or responding to a crisis, no matter the time of day or night. Our advocates are available 24/7, 365 days a year. Funding helps Family Crisis Centers ensure that Carroll County residents have an advocate to speak to and seek all the services that we provide, such as court accompaniment, civil protection order assistance, housing assistance, mobile advocacy, domestic violence counseling, employment counseling, economic advocacy, and so much more. Advocacy is not just one size fits all, as we tailor our services to meet each need of each individual that is seeking our help. Also here today is Kaylee. She is part of our housing department. So if there are any questions, we're free to answer them.
what is your request?
We are requesting continuing funding for Family Crisis Center. Yeah.
The same amount.
Same amount.
That's what I could find out. Thank you for asking.
So that was.
We give him $6,000.
6. Is that right? Is that what was requested?
They had requested 10, we give him 6, which will have been the last year.
Yeah, we've always,
Good study, isn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4 years, we've done 6,000. Okay.
Going through your financial, I got one question. I see there was a loss of $1 million on loss of assets or sale of property. You know what that was for?
I am not sure how to answer that question, as our supervisor is currently out today and we have to train for her. But we can certainly get back to you with.
Is that a Sioux City question?
I probably,
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is your supervisor? Does anybody have any more questions?
Well, there's definitely a need for your service, and we thank you for that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a need.
Yeah, these numbers are sad.
For Carroll County.
Yes, so thank you for what you do.
Your crisis calls, I have one question, your crisis calls, are those referrals or do they call direct to a number that you guys staff?
Yeah, so those are people that call directly. Additionally, we also receive referrals.
Because there's a new number for mental health issues, and I'm just curious if you're getting transfers from them. Because some people, you know, you kind of get crossed in the lines.
I know the
And-
call
and-
center gets them.
And they all fit. Don't get me wrong, it's just curious if you.
Yeah, so individuals call, and then additionally, we have partnerships with other agencies, and they are able to give us referrals.
Give us a recall. Very good.
We had 71.
But there's a 3-digit number, and there are 559.
988.
No, thank you.
98, yes, that's for the new one. yeah.
Yes, that just came on board. And I just want to make sure that there's cooperation amongst everybody,
Yeah,
because the peg doesn't always fit in that hole.
yeah, we're always making sure to collaborate with them.
Yeah, thank you.
So does Family Crisis Centers staff that call center?
So it goes to our call center, and then from there, we receive a message from the main office to the advocate that's covering that area. And then
Okay,
reach out to that.
gotcha.
So like the call center takes all of the calls in the state and then divvies them up versus the program. So they do the referrals, but they also have advocates that if you need to just talk for an hour, whatever you need, they're there. So they don't just,
They don't dump you
no,
on to somebody else.
no.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the gal that used to come down there, Huh?
Sherry.
yeah, she's still there yet?
I was.
She just probably too busy with,
I know she has some health issues too, so.
and if you ever listen to her story, she's got quite a story.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have committee reports done. We went over everything. Item number 8 is to go into closed session for Iowa Code 21.5 to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, or performance or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent needless or irreparable injury to the individual's reputation and that individual's request of a closed session. So we need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are in closed session.
You need to do a roll call to go in.
Yes.
Miners.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.